Now, mate, we've got you on the show today for two reasons. First of all, we're going to talk about the tour, but also because we're going to play your brand new single, Garbage Man, on our show for the very first time as well. And I've had a listen to it. It's amazing, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about this track. This is the first single that we've heard from you guys for a while. So tell us a little bit about the track and what inspired it.
Yeah, so we just wanted to make something really that just sounded like garbage, and so we kind of got together and turned up everything as loud as it would go and tried to make it sound as trashy as possible, and I don't know, it's kind of like a Neanderthalic sort of primitive rhythm.
It sounds like it was very, very fun to record, is that right?
Oh yeah, we had a great time. We had like microphones on like long leads, like just like plugged into amps feeding back on themselves and stuff like that.
Cool. So, and also there's a pretty interesting video clip as well. Tell us a little bit about the video clip.
Yeah, we just wanted to make something that was kind of visually jarring and also kind of garbagey. So my brother Jamin choreographed a Garbage Man dance, and we put on. I had COVID at the time, which is kind of funny, but we did it from opposite sides of the country. I live in New Orleans, and he lives in Louisiana or in Los Angeles. And yeah, we each filmed ourselves dancing in our bedrooms with garbage bags on, doing the same dance, and then sent it to our friend Misha to edit together. And yeah, it came out nice.
So how is your experience with COVID? We're hearing more and more now over here of a few artists that have caught COVID that have struggled a fair bit after having it. How was your experience with the dreaded flu?
Oh, the first time was the worst, and then ever since, every time it's been like not that bad.
Yeah.
But the first time was pretty bad. Felt it for months and months afterwards, but that was I got it really early coming back from China in 2019, so in December.
Yeah, you're the same as me. I did the same. I caught it coming back from Thailand in 2019, and then caught it a few months ago. But I was the opposite, actually. The second time I caught it was worse than the first time.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
I just had it a couple weeks ago, and it was like nothing.
Yeah. So, mate, tell us a little bit about this Australian tour. We are so excited that you guys are heading back here. How are you guys feeling about heading back to the land of Oz?
Yeah, really excited. I feel like Australia is a place that really appreciates rock and roll, and we've always had really good audiences there, and always had a really good time. And it's been way too long. It's just so expensive for us to get there, because the American dollar not worth so much.
Yeah. Talk us through that, because we have so many of our listeners who ring us and they comment on social media saying, oh, we never get to see these bands in Australia anymore, la la la. So talk us through that. Why is it so difficult to travel to Australia, like apart from distance, but also cost-wise?
Well, I mean, you have to fly from city to city for the most part while you're in Australia. So you're talking about flights and transporting what gear you can carry on the flights, and then you have to get organized ground transportation and rent gear for each, different gear for every show, and then fly to the next show. Like whereas in the United States when we tour, or Europe, just rent one set of gear and drive from place to place. So that makes it more expensive. It's also just everything in Australia is like 4 times the prices of the United States in the first place. And we don't have any there's not really any government programs or anything to fund artists or musicians here,
Yep.
So basically, like most musicians here are working like a shitty like minimum wage job and are barely scraping by in the first place.
Yep.
I guess. I mean, that's why we've never been able to come back. But it just takes someone like our friend BT to like be like, all right, we're gonna get you some anchor money at this festival, and then book you a bunch of side shows to kind of make up, the difference, and just need someone to front the money, really.
Yeah.
To make it.
You've now played at some of Australia's most iconic festivals. In fact, you played at the last ever Big Day Out. How do How are Australian festivals different to festivals around the world?
That's a good question, actually. Let's see. It's been about 10 years. Um, it's not too different, I guess. Festival culture is pretty ubiquitous, I think, don't you? But I'm trying to think of what the main difference is. The landscape's obviously really different.
Yeah.
And you're with Australians for the most part, which is always really fun.
And you played at Meredith, which of course has the very famous Meredith GIF, the nudie run. Did you guys happen to see that, because that's something pretty iconic?
I think we missed it. I can't remember. But I really liked Meredith Festival. I really like the concept of sorry, I'm trying to light a cigarette off my stove because I don't have a lighter right now.
That's all right.
I really like that Meredith only has one stage. I thought that was so cool.
Yep.
Because then, people, there's an audience for every band, and you don't have to pick and choose, and be running around. Kind of figure out what you want to see and how you're going to see everything. So that was really neat.
Yeah. Now, you guys are playing at some pretty unique places when you're here this time. Of course, you're playing in Splendor in the Grass, but you're also playing one of my favourite places, the Torquay Hotel, which is going to give you a little bit of a chance to have a look around Australia a little bit. Are you excited about that opportunity to be able to look around and get to some of the more regional areas as well?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of our favorite. We always had really good time playing in the smaller pubs and hotels and stuff whenever we got out of town, and we got to see kangaroos one time, which was pretty cool. That's pretty weird for an American, but you don't really see that in Sydney or Melbourne. So yeah, and the people are always just so nice when you go a little off the beaten path, as they say. So
yeah, how do you find the Australian crowds? Because we've been told pre-COVID that we've got pretty wild crowds here at shows. Is that something that you've found in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. Really good crowds, especially for rock music, because a lot of places you go, you just can't quite get people engaged. But yeah, I don't know, something in the air down there. People seem to really enjoy it.
Yeah. Now, you guys are at that time in your career where you've got so many great tracks to be able to choose from when you're putting together a set list. How do you guys go about putting together a set list now, especially for a country like Australia that you don't get to very often?
Yeah, well, we try and for this tour, we're still working on this on our set lists, but we try and kind of pick stuff that we know people liked from last time and would probably like based on that. This time around, try and kind of pick stuff from every album, across the whole discography.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna focus more on the more driving, heavier, faster stuff for this tour, just because we want to get some energy out,
Yeah. What's it been like for you guys getting out and doing shows again? Because of course, with all of the lockdowns and the pandemic travel restrictions, shows were pretty much non-existent for a couple of years. What's that been like for you getting back out and doing shows again?
Well, in most of the United States, I think it was really only about a year that shows kind of stopped. And in a lot of the United States now, there hasn't been any restrictions for a long time, especially in the South, since the states decided, and a lot of the governments are really, more sort of oriented towards making money than the well-being of the people that live there,
Yep.
So I will say that there was a period before I moved to New Orleans. I was living in my car and kind of traveling a lot in the Northeast and staying on people's farms and stuff like that. And there was definitely some xenophobia and stuff when you go to shows, and people are very reserved. But then when I moved down to New Orleans, it's pretty much back to normal here. But everyone, like I said, I had COVID a couple of weeks ago, and pretty much everyone I know gets it every couple months now.
Yeah. So.
But I am about to get my fourth shot, so that's exciting. And I just had COVID, so I should be good for a couple months. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
So New Orleans is actually a city that's on my bucket list to visit one day. Tell us a little bit about what it's like, especially as a musician living there, because I think I'd find it pretty inspiring as an artist.
Yeah, it's really fun. I do a lot of recording here. I'm actually in the middle of a session right now. I'm just taking a break, recording a Brazilian percussionist for a remix of a Mardi Gras theme song that my friend Quintron and Miss Pussycat wrote. So yeah, there's a lot of that. I've recorded more new instruments that I've never recorded before this week than like any week before. It's been really fun. But yeah, it's a very intense, hectic place to live. You're faced on a daily basis with extreme like poverty and suffering and violence. Um, but it's also the most culturally vibrant and interesting city in the country. And so for all of its like chaos and insanity and inconvenience, it's a really interesting and inspiring place to live for sure.
So we've got the new track that we're about to play right now, and you're living in one of the most inspiring cities in the world artistically. Can we expect more music from you guys over the next couple of years, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always working on something, some little thing.
Awesome. Well, mate, we are going to play Garbage Man on our show right now. So what would you like to say to everybody out there before they take a listen to this amazing track, but also before they go out and grab tickets to the tour as well?
Yeah. Keep it trashy and let's have a beer. Can't wait.
Awesome.